Hi everyone, it's Sam here today, and today I'm going to show you how I made these lovely, tasty and juicy, gorgeous burgers which are homemade and they taste amazing. So let's get into it. And to make these juicy burgers, these are the ingredients that I used. And I also had some chicken mince as well. So everything will be in the description box below, all the ingredients and everything. And here is the chicken mince. I started off by putting all these ingredients together. So I have the dried coriander, I have salt, I have green chilies and chopped tomatoes with the seeds taken out. And then I'm going to add this to my mince here. So I'm just adding it into the bowl. I'd also use Dettol wipes when I'm using meat around my counter, so I clean it around it as well. And so I'm just going to bind this together. By the way, if you don't have green chilies, you can always add some red chili powder, about half a teaspoon. Here I'm adding my gram flour, so I put 2 tablespoons of gram flour, and this kind of flour helps to bind the mixture together, so when you make your kebabs, hopefully they won't fall apart. And I'm just adding a handful of chopped coriander, fresh coriander. And then mix this into the mixture. Add some pepper to taste. And just cover it with some cling film. And now we're going to shape the kebabs. So I'm just washed my hands, and I water my hands with some water, and I just get a small amount and turn it around in a ball and then flatten it like this. Wet my hands again, get a small amount, turn into a round ball, and then just press gently like this, and then plate these up. So I'm going to continue to do this until most of my chicken is used up, and the rest you can put back into the fridge, or you can just shape them and freeze them for another couple of months. I'm just wetting my hands again. Remember to Dettol the surface after, because we're using meat. And here they are plated up, and we are going to shallow fry these. So in the pan I have some hot oil, and I've placed the kebabs in here. So I've decided to shallow fry these just to keep the shape of the kebabs, because later we are going to place them into the oven to cook for another 15 minutes. So I'm just turning these over. This is just to seal them, to keep their shape, and then I'm going to place them in the oven for 15 minutes where they will stay nice and moist inside. Just flip them over. We just want them to be lightly brown and crispy, and then I'm going to take them out. So I have some foil and I've placed them on the foil like this, and then just cover the kebabs so they're on a baking tray, and then I'm just sealing this up and placed them in the oven. So while they're in the oven, I decided to get my salad ready. I have my onions, tomato, my cheese slices, and my fresh lettuce, and some toothpicks. So I've washed my lettuce, and I'm just taking the lettuce pieces off like this, pulling them apart. And in a pan, we're going to caramelize the onions. I've just put the onions in, and I've cooked them for about 5 minutes until they're caramelized and nice and brown. Keep stirring. And now we're going to get the burger ready. So I have my burger, just adding some burger sauce. You can put whatever sauce you like. Start off like this. So you spread your burger sauce. And spread evenly. Now I'm going to add my sliced tomatoes, my crispy lettuce, and my kebabs. Look how juicy the kebabs look. I'm going to add 2 because I want a big burger. And I've got my slice of cheese. And finally, we're going to put the caramelized onions on top. Put the crown on top. There you go. And then the toothpick to place it in place. Look how juicy a mouth-watering burger this is. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. It's just amazing that you can make this homemade burger at home, and it tastes just as nice but even fresh. You know exactly what you're putting into your burgers, and you can always play and add more sauces or whatever you kind of like to your burgers. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and like my videos. We're going to have some more upcoming videos soon. So thanks for watching, and bye for now from Sam. Hi everyone, this is Sam here. Today I'm going to show you how to make this elegant rustic wedding cake. This is a perfect wedding cake for those couples who are having a small wedding or have limited guests. I have chosen this design as it is simple, and if you're a beginner, this is a good one for you to attempt. This wedding cake doesn't have to be perfect or have smooth sides, and you should be able to get away with this. My cake has fresh flowers and edible gold leaf to add that touch of sparkle. Hopefully it will be a crowd pleaser. We are going to begin with baking the cakes. So I've baked the cakes and they've been out of the oven for about 3 hours. They've cooled down, and I have a 6-inch tins, and I also have a 4-inch tins. So I've got 3 of the 6-inch and 3 of the 4-inch tins, and these are going to be the 2 tiers of my wedding cake. So what I did is I took them out of the tins, and as you can see there's a slight dome on the cake, so I'm cutting that off gently. Apologize for the lighting here because it was at night time I was doing this, so I couldn't get the lighting right, but it will improve as we go along. So I cut the domes off, and this will just give a sort of an even layer to the cakes. I did this with all of the cakes, took them out of the tins, take the parchment paper off, and just cut across like this and turn your cake at the same time. As we've done that now, so moving on to the buttercream. So I have butter in my stand mixer, which is at room temperature, and I added some icing sugar, and I also add a touch of milk as we go along. So I switched the stand mixer on the low setting, and also added some milk. And this is how your buttercream should turn out, nice and fluffy, and we can also apply it. So I put some in the container for the fridge, and here I have my cake board. It's an 8-inch cake board. I've applied a little bit of buttercream to stick the cake so that the cake will stay put, and I've put it on the turntable. So I apply some buttercream, even layer around the cake, and I spread with the spatula. Just put a generous amount of buttercream. And then I'm going to add my other cake, 6-inch cake, like this. Press down and do the same here. Apply some buttercream. Turn your turntable, and then I apply the last remaining 6-inch cake on top, with the dome side facing the bottom and the front sides facing like this. So what will be at the bottom of your cake is going to be turned and put on the top, so it gives a nice even sort of layer and a smooth top. Now moving on to my 4-inch cake, just applying a little bit of butter on the board. Apply my first layer of cake. And just adding some buttercream to the cake. The 4-inch cakes are slightly a bit more challenging, I found. If you don't want to do a 4-inch cake, you can always do an 8-inch cake and a 6-inch cake. But anyway, you just need to hold on to your cake, because as it's smaller, it will move a little bit. And then I just popped my last layer on top. So now I'm just going to crumb coat my 6-inch cake here. So I'm just applying buttercream around the sides of the cake all the way around, and if there's any gaps, just fill them in with the buttercream. So make sure that your cake is all covered with buttercream, there's no gaps remaining on your cake. A crumb coat is, if you don't know what crumb coat is basically sealing the crumbs of the cake into your cake so they don't basically come out. And now I'm just doing the top, just applying some buttercream on the top as well. And now I've got my 4-inch cake. This has been in the freezer for about half an hour and it's been crumb coated as like the other cake. And now I'm going to put my final layer onto the cake. So I'm going to put a generous amount on this cake, like this. And as we're going for the rustic look, we need to have plenty of buttercream around the cake. So ensure that you've got plenty of buttercream around your cake, because when you use the spatula, you need enough buttercream to actually do the design, and if you haven't got enough buttercream, you'll end up going too far into your cake. I'm going around the cake and then I'm going to work my way on the top of the cake once I've done the sides. I have my side scraper here, and now I'm going to scrape the sides. So you hold your side scraper with your right hand and you turn the turntable. The turntable is doing all the work for you. You're just holding the side scraper in that position while you are turning the turntable. Now I'm just working on the top. Carry on using the scraper as long as you're happy. It doesn't have to be too neat because you're going to use your design. So with this design you can get away with the sides not being very neat. I'm just using the spatula and bringing it in as well from the top and just filling in the sides if there's any gaps that I've seen, so that you've just got an even amount of buttercream on your cake. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. You will get fun videos on baking and cooking, videos by myself, Sam, and we can go through this journey together. So I'm carrying on with the scraper. And when I'm happy with the cake, I will stop. So I'm just carrying on for now. There's still a few gaps, so I'm just filling them in again. If you don't have a side scraper, you can use a ruler, but make sure it's sterilized before you use it. I wish I knew this before when I got into my baking, because I find that the baking kit can be quite expensive. So if you're a beginner, it's always best to use tools that are easy and less expensive, like rulers and other gadgets that are available. Just clean the surface because I will need the space to use the design to do the rustic look. So here I have my spatula, I'm facing it down like this at this angle, and I'm just turning the turntable to get that rustic look. So I'm going to carry on with the spatula, just keeping it in a similar position, but the turntable is doing all the work, and work my way upwards. I've just slightly moved my spatula upwards, and that's all I'm doing. If you have any cuts in your cake, you can just go over them again in those areas just to neaten them up. And I've done a little sort of rustic look on the top as well. And now I have my 4-inch cake. And I am using my spatula just to make it neater. I found using the scraper moved the cake a bit more, so I decided to use a spatula instead where possible. And now I'm going to do my rustic design on this 4-inch cake, just moving the turntable slightly and just holding my spatula upwards, going back again, pressing slightly. Don't press too hard into the cake because you'll end up going too far into the cake. And if you're not happy with the rustic look, or it's not gone as you expected, you can always start again and apply buttercream on top and just do it neater again. So they've been in the fridge for about, say, half an hour to set, and now I've got my straws. These you can place into the cake, and this will actually make your cake stable. So as it's a 2-layer cake, you actually need these. You need to put this in the bottom of the cake to hold the top layer in place. And as a guide, I'm just using my cake tin and putting it in the middle so that I can get the top layer of the cake in the center position. So I'm just pressing slightly to make a line. And I'm just placing the straw inside, and then I'm going to cut it at the bottom of where the cake meets the cake, like that. And then I'm going to cut all the straws the same size. So I'm getting all my straws together, and I've put about 4 straws in, and I'm just going to snip it off like this. You can use wooden dowels as well if you are a bit scared of using the bubble straws, and you can just use the dowels instead. So I have my straws ready and I'm going to position them into the cake. I'm just using the tin as a guide again. And then I'm just going to place the straws inside so that they're not sitting outside of that sides of the cake. And instead of using your fingers right the way through in the cake, you just use another straw to slip your straws back in position so your fingers are not actually touching the cake inside. And now I'm just adding the 4-inch cake, but I realized when I added the cake there was my fingerprints on the cake, so I had to neaten that up later. The longer you leave it in the fridge, the more your cake will set, but I was a bit impatient, so that's okay. I'm just neatening it here. And now I have some buttercream in a piping bag, which I use to make the shell on my cake, and I have my flowers. And all you need to do is have your straws, snip them about an inch size or 2 inches, and then you place your flower or your rose in there into the straw, and then position it in wherever you want to place it in the cake. There's no rules of where you want to put the roses or flowers. Is up to yourself. It's your personal preference how you would like to place your flowers. And the good thing about using these straws is that the stem of the flowers is not touching directly with the cake, and therefore your cake is safe to eat. So I'm just placing some roses at the top. And you can apply some buttercream at the bottom and put your roses at the bottom of your cake as well, like this. And now I'm just adding some edible gold leaf. You can apply a little bit of water to your brush and then apply that to your cake and add your gold leaf. This adds a good sort of sparkle to your cake. I'm just adding as much as I can. You can put as much or as less as you like. If your gold leaf comes off, you can always add a touch of water so that it sticks to the cake. And there you have my finished wedding cake look. It's a two-tier wedding cake. I hope you like this look, and if you do try it, please send me a message. I'd love to see how your cakes come out. And if you have any worries, just send me comments on the comments description below. I will try to help you, and I hope you like the cake. Thanks for watching, and bye from me, Sam. Thank you. अस्सलाम वालेकुम गाइस, मैं आपको आज बताऊंगी कि हॉट कुकी डो कैसे बनाते हैं। और ये बहुत आसान तरीका है। मैं आपको बताऊंगी एग्जैक्टली ये कैसे आपने बनाना है घर में। ठीक है, तो गाइस आपको चाहिए होगा बटर, ब्राउन चीनी, सफ़ेद चीनी, मैदा, चॉकलेट चिप या काटा हुआ चॉकलेट, नमक और एक अंडा आपको चाहिए। जो इंग्रेडिएंट्स हैं वो मैं डिस्क्रिप्शन बॉक्स में लिस्ट कर दूंगी, आप आसानी से देख सकते हैं। तो पहले से हम शुरू करेंगे। जो बटर है उसको माइक्रोवेव में डालेंगे और उसको थोड़ा सा सॉफ्ट करना है। तो माइक्रोवेव में हम 5 सेकंड डालेंगे, थोड़ा सा सॉफ्ट हो जाएगा। फिर हम इसके साथ जो चीनी है वो मिक्स कर देंगे ऐसे। ऐसे देखो मैं मिक्स कर रही हूँ। फिर इसके बाद हम डालेंगे थोड़ा सा नमक, सिर्फ थोड़ा सा। फिर हम अंडा डालेंगे। अंडा को आपने मिक्स करना है सही तरीके से कि नज़र ना आए। फिर आपने ये मैदा डालना है थोड़ा करके, आहिस्ता आहिस्ता। एक दफ़ा नहीं डालना वरना वो थोड़ा सा हार्ड हो जाएगा। ऐसे डालना है। फिर जो चॉकलेट, काटा हुआ चॉकलेट है वो आपने डालना है ऐसे। अगर आपके पास चॉकलेट चिप्स हैं तो वो आप डाल सकते हैं। फिर आपने आहिस्ता इसको मिक्स करना है आराम से। इसके बाद आपको पैन मिलेगा, उसके ऊपर आप थोड़ा ऑयल स्प्रे कर लें बेकिंग पैन में। फिर जो वो डो है आपने इसमें डालना है, कुकी डो को। और चम्मच के साथ आहिस्ता इसको कोने में थोड़ा सा ना डालना है, प्रेस करना है। फिर इसको आपने ओवन में डालना है और गैस 4 पे लगाना है और 10 मिनट के लिए या 15 मिनट के लिए बाद आप इनको इस पैन को निकाल दें। ऊपर मैं चॉकलेट चिप्स लगा रही हूँ ऐसे, फिर नज़र भी आएंगे। और जो डो बच जाता है उसको आप फ्रीज़ कर सकते हैं, फ्रीज़र बैग में डाल के आप फ्रीज़र में डाल सकते हैं और आप इसको फिर यूज़ कर सकते हैं। ये 3 महीने के लिए आप डाल सकते हैं। अच्छा 15 मिनट हो गए हैं तो मैंने अपनी कुकी डो निकाल दी है। देखो कैसी बनी है। इसके ऊपर आप आइसक्रीम डाल सकते हैं और आप चॉकलेट जो सॉस होता है वो भी आप डाल सकते हैं ऊपर ऐसे। तो इसको आप गरम खा सकते हैं और बहुत ज़बरदस्त मज़ेदार है। ऐसे डेज़र्ट के लिए आप खा सकते हैं। अब मैं ट्राई करूँगी। बहुत ही टेस्टी है, यम्मी का। तो गाइस ये बहुत आसान तरीका है। मेरा इंग्लिश चैनल भी है, कुकिंग फॉर प्रो विद SK, एंड मेरा ये उर्दू चैनल मैंने इसलिए खोला है ताकि इसलिए कि मेरे जो उर्दू व्यूज़ हैं या हिंदी व्यूज़ वो भी आसानी से रेसिपी शेयर कर सकते हैं और बना सकते हैं। सो मैं स्पेशली उन व्यूज़ के लिए बना रही हूँ जो देख सकते हैं। अगर आपने ये मेरा वीडियो पसंद किया है तो ज़्यादा वीडियो ऐसे देखना चाहते हैं उर्दू में तो आप प्लीज़ मुझे सब्सक्राइब करें और मुझे कमेंट्स में लिखें जो आप पसंद करते हैं रेसिपीज़। तो मैं ज़रूर आपको इंग्लिश डिशेस भी और डिज़र्ट्स इंग्लैंड वाली दिखाऊंगी। Thank you very much for watching and bye for now.